Hello, this is Dazzling One. This week I'm going to discuss a few bizarre stories with you. You have probably seen the footage floating around the internet of the ritual at the Gotthard Base Tunnel. It was a 35-mile long tunnel that was just opened in Geneva, Switzerland, the same place where the Hadron Collider is, and the same city apparently that is dedicated to Apollyon, associated with the fifth trumpet in the book of Revelation. One of the hugest things that stuck out was this goat man, which we see this figure constantly popping up, whether it's Krampus, Baphomet, Saturn, Kronos, Azazel, Satan. It's the insignia for the occult. It is the figure in the middle of the pentagram. And what was interesting about this figure is that he dies, he is resurrected, similar to the Antichrist, and 600 members were in attendance. It was the 6th month, and it was 2016. So there are the 3 6s there. It seems like a ritual. And Run2christ, which you should go check out his YouTube channel, has very great content on it. He pointed out the reference to Janus in time, and he linked this to the Mandela Effect, which is something that I covered a couple of months ago, but since then I've seen more and more videos popping up about scripture being changed by the Mandela Effect, which to me is a bit outrageous because it's been proven that each year or so there's a new translation that comes out and scriptures are removed, words are changed, words are modernized, and this is why I'm not a fan of using any other version than the KJV. But some people have attributed it to time travel and parallel universes, and it's actually caused them to doubt the validity of the Bible, and I think it's another one of Satan's devices to trick the body of Christ out of believing in the Word. But what else Run2christ pointed out was that the Pope and the CEO of Instagram met and talked about the power of images and how if we stay online all the time and we're plugged in, kind of like the Simpsons episode where Lisa has her daughter and they both go into the internet where you fall asleep and you're in this internet world, then they can manipulate certain images and get us to believe that they have the power to time travel and that there are parallel universes out there. And with the Mandela Effect, it's not that I'm skeptical of it, because I do believe there is something to the names being changed on certain labels, and in certain movies certain phrases do not sound the same, but I also think to believe that they actually have enough power to go back and change time and to alter timelines and change the Bible is going a little too far, and this is what Satan would want us to believe, that he has enough power to do so. It's true that they can alter things now to make it seem as if they've altered things back then, but they don't have enough power. But if we could believe in it, again with the power of the images, then how much more powerful would Satan appear? And his goal is always to be like God, and so we just must be careful in how much power we attribute to Satan. With Janus, and also using the goat, which again is Saturn, Kronos, Azazel, or Pan, which has the fertility ritual illustrated with the women and Pan when they were dancing. As you can see in this picture, you have figures bowing to the clock, and this illustrates the worship of time. And again, going back to the Mandela Effect, they are obsessed with time because Satan knows that his time is short, and they want to live forever. Not just live forever and deteriorate in health, but a healthy life. And this is why they have employed methods like human life extension by 2045 and transferring the consciousness into a robotic body. And again, this ritual was a worship of time, connecting it back to Janus. A lot of duality has to do with time. There was one ritual performed in the tunnel in the dark, and there was one ritual performed in the light, the day. And again, there's this obsession with time. And that leads me into the other ritual that took place on June 6th, which again, they wanted to keep all of the 6s. June the 6th month, the 6th day of June, and 2016. The Satanic Temple of Los Angeles planned for that day to create a GPS pentagram that would cover the entire city of Lancaster. And they had planned for it at 3 p.m. yesterday, and I'm assuming that they went through with it. There wasn't a lot of press about it, but again, we see more and more of these rituals popping up. If you go back to the month of April, people were making a big deal about the arch that was connected to the Bell Temple that was going to go up in New York City. In the end, they canceled it up, but they still put up the Arch of Triumph in London, and we're seeing more and more of these rituals. Another thing I just want to point out quickly, and maybe there's a connection, maybe there is not. It seems that when they put up the Arch of Triumph, which many people said it didn't have a connection to the Bell Temple, but it was still a pagan symbol, is that it happened the day right before there were primaries, and again, this pentagram in Los Angeles happened the day before the primaries. Now, interesting that these rituals occur right next to these primaries and elections. And there's a man named Steve Hill. He is calling himself a Satanist, and he is running for a seat in Senate for Santa Clarita. And the interesting thing about it is that he claims he's an atheist, but this is what he had to say according to Time. I am a Satanist, as far as trying to get people to understand that I don't believe in the devil any more than I believe in God, Hill said in an interview. All of it is stupid. But if I have to tell people I'm the devil to get them to listen, then okay, I'm the devil. So, something that really stuck out to me about what he said was that he would tell people he was the devil, and apparently that was going to make him a more prospective candidate to some. And sadly, when you look at entertainment and you see shows like Lucifer doing pretty well, it does seem that people have a fixation or an interest in the devil. They want the alternative to the Bible, and they want to see more of Satan. Hill, who also works as a stand-up comedian in Los Angeles, is currently helping organize an LA chapter for the Satanic Temple, a nationwide satanic activist organization. Hill said he identifies with the temple's mission, which he described as a humanist approach that raises levels of consciousness. What I find interesting about this situation is it mirrors this growing phenomenon where you have atheists throwing their support behind Satanists. Now, of course, atheists and Satanists are different. Atheists don't claim any type of religion. Satanists claim that they follow more of a philosophy, and then there are people that do actually worship the devil. And the interesting thing about it is, if you remember a couple of years back in Lake Worth, Florida, an atheist had an invocation offering thanks to Allah, Zeus, Satan, Buddha, Krishna, and Thor. You see more of this approach that it's safer to unite behind Satanists because they're about the humanitarian approach, and they're about educating people, and they're do-gooders. And really, there's a deeper agenda to it. Right now, more people are moving away from any type of belief and are moving more into a atheist or atheist or agnostic point of view, but eventually more people will move into the New Age and into the occult. It's a subtle thing that is happening. Another very disturbing story is that at Hillsong, at a women's conference, they had a man who dressed up like the Naked Cowboy, and it actually offended the actual Naked Cowboy. And he was on stage gyrating on the American flag, as I talked about last week, this unhealthy obsession with patriotism. Not that patriotism is a bad thing, but some people affiliate Christianity with patriotism, and as I've said in the past, America and Israel are not the same. And also, the other disturbing part of it all was that you had Elmo, you had the minions from Despicable Me, you had SpongeBob on stage. Why is it that whenever someone is gyrating or grinding on stage, going back to the VMAs in 2013 with Miley Cyrus, there were teddy bears on stage? There's always these references to children's items or things that remind us of kids, and really the deeper thing behind it is pedophilia, sexualization of children. Quite disturbing, especially when it's happening in the church. But what's interesting is that in 1973, David Wilkerson actually talked about how there would be naked dancing in church, and at the time, probably seemed outrageous, but there you have it. People are doing that in the church, and it's really no surprise with Hillsong. Still, it's disturbing. This was brought to my attention by one of my subscribers. In Venezuela, they are actually going to implement fingerprinting to ration food at supermarkets. According to BBC, Venezuela is due to begin installing about 20,000 fingerprint scanners at supermarkets across the country as part of its introduction of rationing. President Nicolas Maduro said the system would reduce food hoarding and panic buying. Over the last year, there have been long queues at supermarkets because of widespread shortages of basic goods. Mr. Maduro said the shortages were due to manipulation of the food supply and prices. The president announced that 7 major retailers have agreed to install the scanners in stores. So there you have it. The economy is collapsing. They need to keep track of people in Venezuela, so they're moving to biometrics, which, again, I believe before we actually have a complete cashless society, they are going to crumble the economy. And right now, it's true, people are using their phones with a little square and they're swiping a phone, but in the future, you're going to be using your fingerprints, and eventually it's going to evolve into chipping yourself. There are already nations that have people putting chips inside of their hands and using those to scan things. And again, I don't believe it's the mark of the beast, but I believe it's a step in that direction. Another interesting story is that King Tut, they discovered that his dagger was made of a meteorite, and it's made of iron, not from this planet. I'm just wondering how much longer till they start introducing into mainstream science that the ancient people had contact with some type of extraterrestrial. Right now, it's more of a fringe theory, the whole ancient astronaut thing, but soon enough, they will be considered the missing link to evolution. And if that's not enough in that direction, apparently at the University of California, Davis, researchers have injected human stem cells into porcine embryos to find out if human organs can be grown inside the animals, called chimeras, the BBC reported Monday. Again, we are making hybrids, we're making chimeras, and right now they're saying they're doing it so they can grow human organs. This stuff has been going on behind closed doors for many years, and now they're being more open with it. It's the same thing going back to the guy that declaring himself a Satanist and running for office. He's not going to be the first Satanist, if he wins, to ever take office. I'm pretty sure there are many more Satanists that are in office right now. They're open about the fact that, hey, we're moving towards a cashless society, and we are doing rituals that are pagan in nature, and we are making chimeras. And it's interesting to see this all developing. It's everything that I've discussed on this channel and those before me and people that are discussing it now. We're seeing the beginning of transhumanism. We're seeing the move towards the mark of the beast. We're seeing the glorification of the devil openly and the Antichrist that is soon to come. And we are living in some very strange times, but they're also exciting times. And I at least feel blessed to be living in such times because I do believe we will see the return of Yeshua. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Take care, and Yahweh bless you.